What's going on, Bulls fans? My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be diving into two segments. The first segment, I'm going to be going over the top NBA free agents that are still available for your Chicago Bulls that I think the Bulls are actually going to consider signing. We'll dive into the cap space implications of that as well. And then obviously the Zach LaVine buzz. You know, whether you believe it or not, there are rumors out there of Zach LaVine still being shipped, and we're going to specifically focus on the Philadelphia Sixers as that team that has been linked to Zach LaVine. We'll do that on the later half of today's video. But start off with the top free agents available and where the Bulls roster stands so far. So they do have 3 open roster spots still left. Obviously, you know, bringing in Jevon Carter and Julian Phillips, as you see on screen right now. For Jevon Carter, around $6.3 a year, and then Julian Phillips for around $1.1 on that second-round rookie deal. But the Bulls, they still have that mid-level exception, the biannual exception, and they still have a vet min to offer. So I'm going to be going over 5 names that I think could fill in some of those spots. I do expect the Bulls to fill out the rest of those 3 roster spots, and maybe they go and make a splash signing with that mid-level exception that normally sits around $12.5 million. The Bulls can obviously only offer half of the mid-level exception, but they still have their full biannual exception. And I think these 5 names that I'll go over could fit into both of those categories. But guys, if the Bulls make a move like that, we'll have a video for you guys ASAP. First off, I just want to say thank you for everybody who has subscribed so far. I know we ask for you guys to hit that subscribe button a lot, but it truly does go a long way here at the Bulls Report. And guys, we're closing in on 3,000 subs. We're less than 75 away. So if there are 75 new viewers out there who haven't hit that subscribe button yet, help us out here at the Bulls Report and hit that subscribe button. But the number one free agent target for me is Ayo Dosunmu, already on the Chicago Bulls, but he is a restricted free agent, and the Bulls really haven't made a decision on whether they're going to bring him back or not. But Ayo, throughout his first 2 years, his rookie year, he was fantastic. Like, Ayo, for a second rounder, what he accomplished during that rookie season, he was absolutely great, and especially the efficiency. Shooting 52% from the field and then 37.6% from deep. That is elite efficiency, especially from a rookie that you took in the second round, and you didn't really expect him to have the impact that he had. But we really seen the efficiency take that decrease or take that dip in year 2, where he dropped from 52 to 49.3. From 37.6 to 31.2. But overall, I do want the Bulls to bring Ayo back. I'm a big fan of his game. He has that dog mentality defensively, and he's one of the better defensive guards in the NBA. And with his long athletic wingspan and just his long athletic archetype at that 6'3", 6'4" point guard position, I think Ayo Dosunmu makes a ton of sense to kind of fit into what the Bulls want to do, especially on the defensive side of the floor. And my whole breakdown with the Bulls' defensive backcourt, I really do believe if the Bulls were to bring back Ayo and you pair him up with Alex Caruso and Jevon Carter, that would make the Bulls, the Bulls would have one of the best defensive backcourts in the league. And I understand the Bulls' front court defense is still a huge issue. Like, Nikola Vucevic by no means is one of the better rim protectors in the league, and neither is obviously Patrick Williams, because he's only at around 6'7", 6'8", so he can't really protect the rim too well. And even our bench big and Andre Drummond, he's never been the best rim protector in the league as well. But how do you combat a lack of rim protection? Is strong on-ball pressure. And if you could have those 3 at the point of attack, Caruso, Jevon Carter, and Ayo Dosunmu kind of forcing the other team's guards and funneling them to the center of the lane and kind of just creating mishaps and just creating havoc defensively. I think the Bulls truly, on any given night in the NBA, especially during the regular season, they are going to be a matchup nightmare for other teams. But I'll ask you guys, this will be the pinned comment on today's video. Will the Bulls bring back Ayo Dosunmu? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. YouTube's going to throw you an ad your way. Sit back, let it play, and answer today's pinned comment. Number 2 for me is Malik Beasley, and he was with the Los Angeles Lakers. They acquired him at the trade deadline last season, and he was up and down for the Lakers last year. Obviously, the efficiency overall from the field wasn't where you wanted it to be, but he's a true scorer and a true bucket getter at that 2-guard spot. I mean, putting up 7.2 threes a game, and then also having the efficiency around 35.3. That's pretty solid from a shooting aspect. But I will say with Malik Beasley, I don't think he has the best fit with what the Bulls want to accomplish. I do think you could get Malik Beasley for maybe that biannual exception or the half of the MOE, which the Bulls can offer him. but I don't really think he fits with what the Bulls need. They already have two scoring combo guards in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So if we're going to kind of use one of those last three roster spots, I would have liked that to go in another direction. I like Malik Beasley's game. He's a heck of an offensive talent, but his fit with the Bulls doesn't really make too much sense. Number 3 on my list is Kelly Oubre Jr., one of my favorite players in the NBA, and he is coming off probably his best season of his NBA career with the Charlotte Hornets. In 48 games played last year, he actually averaged over 20 points a game. Yes, the efficiency wasn't where you want it to be at 43% from the field and 32% from deep, but he was a high usage and a high volume scorer, and I just overall with Oubre, I mean, if you could get a guy that's no doubt going to average 15 a game throughout his NBA career, and over the past 4 seasons, that's exactly what he's done. I'm a big fan of his game. You know, he's got this 6'7", 6'8" wing, long archetype build, and he can also knock down the three-point shot. Would I like him to be a little more efficient? Yes, of course. But throughout his NBA career, he's been a volume scorer, and that's really seen, with volume scorers is, their efficiency isn't the same as, a true role player. And who knows, maybe Kelly Oubre could develop into that. Maybe he could be a guy where, the scoring output goes down, but the efficiency goes up. Or maybe he's sitting around 12 points a game instead of 20, but the efficiency is around more 48% from the field and maybe 36, 37% from three. Overall, I like his size, and defensively, size matters, length matters on that side of the floor, and Oubre checks that box, no doubt. But number 4 on my list, and this is my number 1 dream free agent target that I hope the Bulls could, bring in with half of that mid-level exception they have available, and that's Grant Williams. I've always been a big fan of Grant Williams. I like his size. I like his physicality that he brings on the basketball floor. Yes, he is only 6'6", but he can play that power 4, and I actually think he can maybe run a completely small ball lineup of maybe a small ball 5 with him at that spot. But Grant Williams, he can shoot, man, and he's really excelled with that corner 3 especially. I mean, this past year in 79 games played with really solid efficiency. I mean, scoring 40% from the three-point line is nothing to, mess around about. Like, that is an elite level of shooting from Williams this past year from Boston, and still averaging 8 points a game, 4.6 rebounds. Obviously not the playmaker that other guys are in the league, but overall, this would be my dream pickup for the Chicago Bulls. Like, if the Bulls still are in this position where they want to run this back and they want to try to win the most games possible, I think Grant Williams filling out that last roster spot of half of that mid-level exception would be the best case scenario. He offers size, he offers strength, that I think strength is one of the more underrated kind of team building cornerstones that you need. Like the last NBA champions, they're all big, they're all strong. Besides the Golden State Warriors, they all have this sense of physicality, and Grant Williams brings that. And I know you might be saying, well, remember when he got dogged by Jimmy Butler in the NBA playoffs, and he kind of he pissed him off, and then Jimmy ended up going off. Well, I respect the stones on Grant Williams to at least challenge Jimmy Butler. Like, somebody on that Celtics team had to do it, and it was him. He took that straight on the chin. He's got that dog in him, and yeah, he's maybe a little bit of a goofy guy, but I like his shooting ability, and I just like his overall size that he brings to the basketball court. Number 5 for me is TJ Warren, another long wing that can shoot the 3 ball really well. If you guys kind of see the trend here, they're all guards and they're all pretty solid shooters. But Warren this past season, he was with the Brooklyn Nets originally, and then he was part of that Kevin Durant trade where he was traded to the Phoenix Suns. And we really saw his minutes go down when he got to Phoenix. I mean, he was averaging around 18, 19 a game with Brooklyn, dropped that down to 12 this past season with the Phoenix Suns. And then obviously the scoring output got cut in half. Rebounds went up a little bit, but again, that efficiency got cut in half. And my overall take with TJ Warren, he's just a solid role player. Like, I would bring him in, maybe that biannual exception, maybe a vet min. I wouldn't want the Bulls to use their last half of their MLE on a guy like TJ Warren, but he's just a solid role player, and he's going to get the job done. He's not nowhere near that bubble TJ Warren that we saw when he was having 40, 50-point games. He's nowhere near that anymore. But again, he's a solid role player. Maybe he could come off the bench and give you 15 on any given night. But I give you 5 names that I think the Bulls should sign. My overall number 1 dream signing would be Grant Williams. But I'll ask you guys, who do you guys want the Bulls to sign? We're on day 3 of NBA free agency. The list is a little bare right now, but I'll ask you guys, who do you guys want the Bulls to sign? We'll wrap up today's show talking about the latest around Zach LaVine because, the rumors are still being floated out there. And whether you believe in the Droppin' Dimes 20 Twitter account or not, he has been right about a lot of moves during this NBA offseason. And the last tweet he had was Zach LaVine, period. And then his account got deleted. So that kind of sparked all the Twitter rumors yesterday. But Jack Simone, he writes for Bulls Wire, he had this to say around the latest Zach LaVine rumors. He said the Bulls are in need of a rebuild, and with uncertainty around Lonzo Ball's ability to play again following a serious knee injury and a roster that is middling at best, injecting a little bit of new blood in it with Maxey and a veteran experience in Harden would at least freshen things up. Even if the likelihood of immediately competing in a loaded Eastern Conference is unlikely, LaVine has repeatedly been the subject of trade conversations in Chicago, and Harden clearly wants out of Philadelphia. The two teams coming together and making a deal happen that takes both off of each other's hands while still being mutually beneficial is the best case scenario. I just don't think a trade would happen of LaVine and Harden, however. Like, that is the thing I disagree with, because if you're thinking about this from the Bulls' perspective, what do they gain out of trading LaVine straight up for Harden? Like, they would just have, like, LaVine and Harden. LaVine's a way better player. Like, obviously, if the Sixers were throwing Maxey, this would be a totally different conversation, but I really doubt that they would do that. But if you're talking about where the Bulls would get better, they wouldn't. Like, if you would trade just LaVine straight up for Harden, that doesn't move the needle at all. It almost makes the Bulls worse. But a trade I would like to see the Bulls do, and maybe you guys could disagree with me, would be James Harden for DeMar DeRozan. You know, Philly can go get another bucket getter and maybe run their offense mainly through Tyrese Maxey, but have DeMar DeRozan as that tertiary scoring option and that third option. I think that would be a great move for Philly. And then on the Bulls side of things, you get a true point guard in James Harden. He's not the same guy that he was in Houston that had these huge scoring outputs. He is a more of a true point. And that Harden with those Houston Rockets teams, man, he was one of the more fun players to watch in the NBA. Like, truly one of the best ISO basketball players in NBA history. I mean, we all know the kind of the highlight reel where Harden would just sit at that top of the key, the defense would flatten out, and it would say, I will go dance and you can't guard me. And he was fantastic with Houston. I mean, he averaged 30 a game with 8 assists and 6 rebounds on pretty solid efficiency. But my whole take, if you would bring in Harden for DeMar DeRozan, I think it's a way better fit. Like, again, I don't agree with the Bulls committing to this kind of run-it-back mentality. I wish they would have rebuilt, but that's not what they're doing. If they're trying to win games this year, I think this is a trade they should consider, is DeMar DeRozan for James Harden. James Harden is more of a true point guard in his career right now. It's just where he is. He just doesn't really have that same quick first step. He can't beat guys off the dribble like he used to. So if you're James Harden, you're looking around at this NBA landscape, and you could say, I could go team up with Zach LaVine, a young guy like Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. Like, by no means I'm not saying the Bulls are going to go win multiple playoff series, but who knows? Maybe they could win one playoff series with Harden instead of DeMar DeRozan. Just something to consider. I think this would be actually a very positive trade for the Bulls if they would somehow move off DeMar and bring in Harden. They're both on 1-year expiring deals, so the contracts match up. And, who knows? Maybe the Bulls could go on a little run here with, with them obviously running it back for whatever reason. But anyways, thank you guys for watching today's show. Went over 5 free agent targets I think the Bulls could sign. And also we went over the latest Zach LaVine trade rumors. Again, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Trying to hit 3,000 subs here on the channel. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.